let's go through the main options on the left side of our file. So besides the little Figma icon that has all of these options, there is this option for me to switch from move to scale. That means that you can use your cursor instead of moving from left to right to scaling objects. In here, the second icon allows you to move from frame to slice. Slices were something that we used a lot as designers in Sketch especially, because it allows us to export things in a particular way that's not going to affect some other layers. I personally don't use slices anymore since I moved to Figma a couple of years ago, because frames are a lot better at all of those things. Consider frames as like main elements that are containing your design. It can be a screen, but it can also be something within that screen. And that's something that's very specific to how Figma works. Instead of using layers as like the lowest element of items and then just having groups, it has a variation of a group that kind of keeps layers contained in a very specific way. And it allows you to set up rules for how things behave outside and inside that frame, based on the fact that you actually grouped items within a frame. So I know that it may sound a little bit complex, but I'll demonstrate on what I actually mean in a couple of minutes. In here, the third option is all of the different shapes that you might be using. So you can draw a rectangle by clicking in here or hitting an R on your keyboard, or you can draw a line by clicking here or hitting an L. And again, one of the great things about Figma is all of the shortcuts are written for you in here, so you can quickly learn as you go. And most of the time when I'm working, I'm not using anything on the menu, I'm just using my shortcuts. So we have an arrow in here, which allows you to have a line with an end that kind of points to something. You can use ellipses, which you can use to create circles as well. Polygons, usually like you're going to use it for a triangle or maybe like a hexagon or something. Then we have stars, and you have the ability to place an image inside your Figma file too. In here we have the pen tool, which allows you to draw freely lines, or if you hold shift, you're gonna be just moving in 45 degree increments around your interface. If you place down a particular dot but don't kind of leave your mouse and still hold onto it, you can drag things around to create a little bit of those bubbly rounded shapes as well. And you can see that you can draw basically anything like this. This is a little bit ridiculous, so I'll just delete it. The other tool is the pencil tool, which instead of like using lines and curved lines, it's just allowing you to draw anything by hand. Something, if you've used tools like Paint, is going to be very familiar with you. They're going to polish it a little bit, and you can still control some things here on the right side, but I don't think you're going to be using pencil tool a lot. Pen tool is a lot more common for UX and UI work. Then we have text. You can also create text just by hitting T on your keyboard, and it's going to allow you to write things down. We have our widgets, components, and plugins here in this menu that was introduced to Figma recently. I'm recording this in September of 2022, so recently meaning a month or two ago in 2022. You have a list of plugins that you maybe used previously or some of the more popular ones in the community. And we have widgets which allow you to maybe make some decisions or create things with some kind of limitations, maybe you can use like a time clock, and as you're designing, limit yourself to I don't know, 20 minutes or something, and instead of you having to use your phone or a stopwatch or something, you can just have a widget that's going to be helpful within Figma as interface. There is a little hand tool in here which allows you to move around the canvas, which is specifically useful if you don't have a trackpad. It's going to be very helpful for you to move around the interface. And then finally, these are the comments options. Okay, to close off this video, I'm just gonna quickly go over some of these options in here. So file allows you to create a new file, be it a design file or FigJam file, or it allows you to import something, for example, from Sketch. You can also place an image from here. You can save a local copy, so a copy of this file on your computer, which can be useful. It doesn't happen often. I can only think of like 2 cases where there were some things off in the last couple of years, where there were some things off with Figma servers. But for those cases when you're working on a really important file and you want to ensure that you can still work on it, you can save a local file that then you can open and use it to edit things, or you can use this to share your file with someone else and allow them to download the file, which is something we often do at Supercharged Design. So yeah, basically it allows you to save a Figma file to your computer and then do whatever you want with it. You can save the version history. Figma auto saves everything, so don't worry about hitting like Control S or Command S to save things. As you're working, it's going to be saved to the cloud, and every time you open your previously worked on file, you're going to have everything there. But if you want to name something like, oh, this is when I made an important change, you can use this option to save to version history, which is only really useful if you're under a paid plan. There is a time limitation on how long they're going to save your updates in a starter plan. And you can also view the version history, so like all of your saves are going to be presented in a timeline format, and you can use the version history then to recover a particular point in time where you had something there and then decided to delete it and you made a mistake and you want to go back. You can also export a particular frame that you're working on, or export all of your frames to a PDF. Edit has all of the common options that you would expect under Edit. If you've used any kind of app before, I'm sure that you expect undo, redo, and all of those things in here. Again, shortcuts, really easy to learn and remember. You can copy things around. Copying a particular frame as a PNG is especially useful when you're designing, because you can just copy it like that and paste it into maybe some kind of a messaging platform you're using to communicate with someone else, test about some quick opinions. You can paste over a selection that you already have. So if you selected something on your screen, you can use Shift Command V for a person on a Mac to paste over it. So if you have like an image, but you want to change it to a different image, or maybe add a star there instead of that image, you can just kind of paste over that initial frame like this. Then we have all of these other options when it comes to like pasting to replace something, duplicating, deleting, copying properties, which is really useful if you, for example, drew a button that has a particular gradient and it's using some kind of a special additional fill, and it has a roundness of, I don't know, 6 points or something. You can easily copy those properties and paste it in another layer or frame somewhere else. So these 2 options in here. You can pick a color that you see on the screen and then use it to paste it and recolor another frame or layer somewhere else. You can select everything, select nothing, select the inverse. So like if you have 6 frames selected out of 9, doing this would select the other 3. And there's a lot of these options in here. which I'm guessing that you're only going to be using if you're looking for something specific. So like select all with the same properties. It means that it's going to take like the fill, the size of elements and all of those things and kind of look for layers who are the same. Select all with the same fills, select all with the same strokes, select all with the same effect. We're going to go over all of these options, so don't worry. If you still don't know what an effect is, we're going to cover that. I just want to ensure that you understand where something is in the menu if you're going to be using it in the future. Instances and variants are some things that are a little bit more complex. We're not going to go into that too much in this course. If you want to learn more about components, instances, and variants, I do recommend our Advanced Figma course. When it comes to view settings, a lot of these things you've already seen up there on the top right under the 100% drop down that you see in here. So you have the ability to view the pixel grid, the layout grids, turn on and off rulers, show slices, which again is not something that you're going to be using, honestly. Comments from other teammates that are working on this file, or maybe your own comments that you've left for yourself, outlines, pixel preview, mask outlines, frame outlines, all of these things connected to view settings are hidden in the view menu options. One thing that I often do is use the show hide UI option. So for me, it's going to be like this. Okay, so it's working, sorry. And you can see what happens. So the left sidebar, the right sidebar, and the top menu bar disappear when I hit that. And I often do it during presentations with clients because it's kind of removing all of the clutter that I need when I'm designing, and it's just focusing on what I'm working with. Multiplayer cursors, again, explained already. Panels are things that you see on the interface right now. So inspect panel is something in here, prototype panel is in here, design panel is in here. Libraries and layers panel is this left sidebar. I'm sorry, you can't see it right now because of all of these options that are open over it. Zooming in, out, all of those things we kind of explained here, besides zooming to the next frame. So basically it's going to move from one frame to another, and kind of you can use that to basically go like next, which is one of the reasons why N is in here. Objects are a little bit more advanced, and I think maybe because of the length of this video and how much of other requirements it has from what you know and understand of Figma, I do recommend skipping object, text, arrange, and some of these options for now, and we're gonna go into them a little bit later. Plugins allow you to go and find more plugins to install or access all of the plugins that you already have connected to your account. So you can see a couple of these ones that I used recently in here. And plugins are basically away from other community members who have done something for themselves to make their Figma lives easier, to share it with everyone else, and you are then able to download that plugin and do the same thing on your own. So for example, I might use brand fetch to grab different brand logos or guidelines and use them in my file. So for example, if I hit that and I hit like Apple, I can move in there and go into a file. This only allows me to use the PNG, so I want to use the SVG format, and I just click on it, and you can see that now their logo is here for me to use and work. So plugins, again, it's not just for that. Every plugin has a different idea behind it, but they can really help you save time and work more efficiently. Like rename, it allows me to rename other things in my file quickly without having to do it so manually as I would if I do that without the plugin. Widgets, I've already explained when I went through this menu here on top, which is now hidden, but you see it with two rectangles, one a rotated rectangle and a plus. Preferences are all of the things that you've set up for yourself when you're working on a Figma file. So something like snapping to geometry, helpful. Snapping to different objects, again, helpful if you want to achieve that alignment. Snapping to pixel grid is something that I rarely turn off. Ability to highlight layers on hover or keep the tool selected after using it. Renaming multiple layers at once, showing dimensions on objects, all of those things are in here. One thing that I do want to kind of help you with is often when it comes to UI and UX work, you're going to be working with one number and all of your sizes and spacings are going to be connected to that size. Most often in UI work, that magical number is 8 because it's divisible a lot of times before it moves into something with a decimal point. So from 8, you can get to 4, you can get to 2, you can get to 1. While if you would use something that's maybe more intuitive to use, like number 10, you can only go from 10 to 5, and then you're already at 2.5. So a lot of designers prefer to use number 8 for most of their spacings, sizes of elements. So for example, a lot of icons that you might find online and download are going to be in frames of 24 by 24. And you're going to see that Google is a big advocate for using 8s in your interfaces. A lot of the mobile apps and design systems that someone is using are going to be using 8. So one thing that I do recommend doing is going to the nudge amount and switching the small nudge, keeping it at 1, but instead of having 10 as a big nudge, to use 8 as a big nudge. Let me see what else is there. Preferences, libraries, we're going to go into that a little bit later. If you need some help looking for some article that maybe we didn't cover, if there's something like that, let us know, because we're definitely going to record the video for you. But if there's something that you're kind of stuck on, you can use the Figma's help page. You can also open up the list of different shortcuts in here that Figma recommends, and like view video tutorials on Figma's YouTube page and so on. Everything connected to like helpful guides and documents from Figma is going to be found under this dropdown. So yeah, this video is a little bit longer, but there's a lot of options, and I wanted to kind of dive into each one and explain what they're doing. So hopefully this was helpful. If not, we're always open for comments, so please do let us know, and we can quickly re-record some things for you. Okay, thank you. See you in the next video.